Can you guess who's the world's highest paid TV star of all time? No, it's not Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. No, it's not Dr. Phil. It's not even Simon Cowell or Ellen DeGeneres. Despite both banking a bumper $75 million a year, coming in way ahead is Oprah Winfrey. By the end of her 25-year run as the world #1 talk show host, Oprah's paycheck was a whopping $300 million a year. That's 4 times the salary of Simon Cowell. Clearly, she's an uber-talented lady. Yet there's one skill in particular that best explains how she amassed such vast wealth. No, I'm not talking about her skill at negotiating her salary. She has an agent for that. I'm talking about a skill for which she's peerless, and that is empathy. No doubt about it. Oprah is a natural at projecting the warmth and acceptance that gets guests opening up within minutes of perching on the sofa. She understands that empathy is vital for earning a guest's trust before the real conversation can flow. Well, guess what? The exact same principle applies to copywriting. Unless you know how to express empathy for your reader, no amount of objection handling, crossroad closes, or open-loop trickery is going to get you the sale. So what's the best way of massaging empathy into your words? I'll tell you in a second. First, let's get one thing straight. Empathy is not the same as sympathy. We're not trying to throw a pity party here. Empathy is not about wallowing in sadness and sorrow. Empathy is demonstrating you understand the reader's struggle. You recognize their worldview, and you can be trusted to recommend something that can put things right. Now, that all sounds fine and dandy, and using empathy may sound like it should be easy to use in your copy. And Oprah sure makes it look easy. But using empathy in copy can be like the Hellraiser puzzle to get right. One wrong move, and your conversions get slashed. Using empathy in your copy has to be so subtle, your reader has no clue you're doing it. If they get the merest hint of being manipulated, they'll be gone, never to return. So here's how not to use empathy in your copy. Don't bluntly call out your reader's wants or needs as a yes or no question. If you say something like, do you suffer from high blood sugar? Or are you fed up with following one dieting guru after another like a lost sheep? You give the reader the option to say no, and go back to scrolling through cat videos on Facebook. Like I said, empathy has got to be done subtly. Here's a smarter way to do it. A technique known as pacing and leading. You start with pacing. Pacing is where you make creatively vague statements about the reader's experience. A creatively vague sentence could be something like, you may be wondering why so many people struggle with crippling brain fog and memory loss despite the billions spent on research. Or, many people struggle to lose belly fat despite giving up sugar and chowing down on vegetables. These are statements that say enough to show you understand what the reader thinks, while being vague enough for them to insert their own meaning. After validating the reader's worldview with a few creatively vague statements, you can move on to leading. Leading is where you take the conversation in a new direction. Because now you've earned the reader's trust, you can make more challenging statements that guide them through your sales letter. It's like dancing with a new partner. You start off with a few basic moves to reassure them you're both plugged into the same beat. Then once you've earned their trust, you can lead the dance in a new direction. So that's how to deploy empathy. Doesn't sound so easy now, does it? And it shouldn't, because using empathy in copywriting is tough to master. It's no wonder Oprah got paid the big bucks. The bottom line is this: before you can convince your reader of anything, you've got to use empathy to earn their trust. And there's no magical copywriting template that tells you exactly what to say. The only way is to get knee-deep into the research and work out what your reader thinks, sees, and feels on a daily basis. And you've got to keep digging until you know them well enough to write a page in their diary about their daily struggles and fears. Because it's only after demonstrating empathy that leading prospects through your sales argument can begin. If you found this video helpful, you can find more posts like this at thecopywriterscrucible.com, a melting pot of copywriting tips and marketing insight.